Hello, this is a series on cognitive science, and in my previous video, I did make well, it was a kind of an overview of two things that concerned phenomenal consciousness. One thing was phenomenal objects, uh, and I refuted that because it's Platonic, and it does have pretty serious metaphysical implications. And they run deep. Uh, the other one was phenomenal concept, which is a great deal more easy to deal with. Uh, Although by easy, I really don't mean easy. I mean pretty hard. Anyway, but there are philosophers who tend to treat consciousness in general and phenomenal consciousness in particular as materialist. And in that way, uh, phenomenal concepts can be construed as if they have kind of special kind of relationship to a kind of external uh, objects in the world. Uh, the entire scenario is, of course, overthrown by phenomenology, because in the phenomenological tradition, uh, with exceptions, of course, there is something like being in the world, and some phenomenologists talk about thrownness, and others talk about yeah, being in the world and a kind of oscillation kind of process. The fact that we're in the world and the world also is external to us uh, puts us in a special dilemma because we are both subjects and objects at the same time. We are objects to ourselves as much as subjects. And this is something that we have to live with. And that is also why all this talk about phenomenal concepts in relation to a world external to the subject is uh, so twisted, if you like, uh, really twisted, because there may not be a world that's external to us. If we talk about some phenomenologists talk about the kind of phenomenal arc, something, stuff like that, and kind of also in phenomenology, there's a vast body of work that kind of challenges the subject-object distinction, and rightfully so. Who am I to have any opinion on that? But you know, uh, and this is not uninteresting. It was Edmund Husserl who founded it. There has been a lot of talk about his method, and as far as I'm concerned, Edmund Husserl's method simply doesn't work. But that doesn't mean that there can be a more general methodology in from the phenomenologist field, which doesn't necessarily is Edmund Husserl's version, but something else, more developed. That can be pretty handy, and we can kind of baptize that neurophenomenology. However weird that may seem, it's a very plausible, I think, route uh, to understand the human psyche. Neurophenomenology, that is the name. It's a kind of a combination of neurophysiology and phenomenology, where phenomenology puts the constraints on what neuroscience can and cannot do, in a way, in a methodology sense. Of course, I'm sorry for the. I haven't been drinking. I hope you understand what I mean. So, I would suggest neurophenomenology as a promise, uh, more than anything else, and a promise that I think we can use in hands-on work, really clinical, with patients, as far as I understand it. And that's the beauty of the thing. Neurophenomenology is a very beautiful science. And as opposed to psychodynamics and also cognitive behavioral therapy, I believe that neurophenomenology can work better, even, than, or achieve better results in as far as treating a patient is concerned. But it's not obvious that the psychiatrist wants the patient to feel well. That's not obvious. I'm sorry to say, but yeah. But to those who think so, then by all means, absorb what I've been talking about now. We're pushing 8 minutes, and I say goodbye. Thank you for watching.